Liz, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. We've got the football fever. We're excited for World Cup, and you're supporting Brazil.
Yes, I am married to a Brazilian, and my son is Brazilian. He was born in Brazil. He's 6, because I did live in São Paulo, Brazil for over 10 years. And I happened to live there during the 2014 World Cup.
Oh,
So I went to a few games there. It was amazing. My whole family came down. I'm from California, so they all came and we went to a bunch of games. It was amazing. And we do have tickets to one Brazil game here. And then we're going to host a watch party for the first game,
e-
Brazil, Morocco. So, yeah, very
exciting.
excited about all of it.
That's so exciting. So tell us, since you were there in 2014, and I could go off and be the total football nerd that I am, but let's just talk about the Seleção. Tell us about some popular chants for the team and if any of these chants have particular meanings for Brazilians.
Yeah, so there is a really good one that it would be fun for me to explain quickly because I think we'll hear it a lot in the stadiums. So the big thing with Brazil, they've won 5 World Cups, of course. The last was in 2002. So every World Cup since 2002, it's all about getting the sixth. So the expression they say is rumo ao hexa, which means on the road to the hexa. Hexa as in, like a hexagon. So hexa means 6.
Mhm.
So it's all like, oh, we're on the road to the 6th title.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of that expression is something you'll see like all over Brazil on merch and everyone's saying it. Rumo ao hexa.
Rumo ao Hexa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready.
So one of the chants is basically going through each of the 5 times that Brazil has won,
Hmm.
and it mentions like who the top player was.
Okay.
So I'm not a great singer, but it's basically it goes em 58 foi Pelé, em 62 foi o Mané, em 70 o Esquadrão, primeiro a ser tricampeão. So that means in 58 it was Pelé, in 62 it was Mané. That's Mané Garrincha. He was like the star of that team.
Hmm.
In 1970, they call it Esquadrão or like the squadron because there wasn't one star player. It was like an amazing group.
Okay.
And then primeiro a ser tricampeão. So the first country to have 3 titles.
Oh,
And then it goes, oh, 94 Romário, 2002 Fenômeno, primeiro tetracampeão, único penteu Brasilzão. So in 94, it was Romário.
hmm.
In 2002, it's Ronaldo, but they call him phenomenal, like Ronaldo phenomenon. So they
Yeah.
say phenomenal. And then the first to have 4 titles and the only to have 5 titles. And then it goes, oh, Brasil, ole, 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 Brasil, ole, 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 Brasil, ole, ole, ole. So that's the one that the groups are definitely going to be chanting like on the way to the game, at the stadium. So it's kind of cool because it's all about, yeah, the history of the team.
I love that. I
Yeah.
would never have known that. Thank you for translating that for us. I was a huge, I'm saying was in the past, and I don't like that I'm saying this, but that late 90s, 98, 2002, that squad
I
was
know.
my favorite.
No, I mean, when you see the videos of 2002 with Ronaldo and Ronaldinho
Ronaldinho.
and Rivaldo and Kaká,
Cafu.
like Cafu, oh my God. I know, I can't believe it.
It
So
makes you wistful, doesn't
I
it?
know. Yeah. And I must say, Brazilians are like not really confident that the current team measures up to that
I know.
group.
I
Yeah.
know. You were there in 2014, so
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Uh let's not upset anybody. Tell us about some popular football slang that, people who are going to be watching Brazil or even at the stadium. What are some slang that we maybe hear in the stands and people are maybe shouting when we win or shouting when we miss a pass or anything like that?
Yeah, so there are a lot of things. One thing you will hear, which I don't want to translate, is how they will curse the referee.
Oh, we don't like that.
They say very mean things to the referee, so
Mhm.
we ignore that. But there's a few like good slang terms for like a really good player and a bad, not a bad player, but like a bad play. So what a player like messes up.
Mm-hmm.
So like for a really good player, they'll say cracky.
Cracky.
So like, oh, Neymar cracky. Like he's like, so if someone does a good play, like a really good shot, say, oh, cracky. Or monstro, also like monster. Like, oh,
Monstro.
he's a monster.
Okay.
But then the ones for when you mess up are really funny. So a perna de pau means like wooden leg. So if you're bad, then you have a perna de pau. And then there might be more, but I could think of two like funny expressions for when the goalie like messes up and lets in a goal. So one is you call it a frango, so a chicken.
Oh.
So you say, oh, like that was a chicken, which means the goalie made a horrible mistake and let the ball in. Or there's mão de alface, which is like lettuce hands. So I always thought those ones were funny.
I love those. Those will be useful. And I want people to know you'll hear the swear words and you're left to your own devices to figure out what those are.
But if they're yelling something at the referee, it's probably bad.
It's probably bad. Yes. When you were living in Brazil, what were some of your observations of football culture at large?
I have a lot.
Okay.
Because my husband was a big fan of a club in São Paulo called São Paulo FC.
Mm-hmm.
There are 4 big clubs in São Paulo. Same with Rio, 4 big clubs.
Yeah.
So we went to a lot of games and like watched them on TV, went to the stadium. And people are way more fanatic and emotional, like maybe not emotional, but the way they feel about their club team is definitely different from the national team, and they feel like stronger about their club teams usually than the national team. And that's probably the case in Europe too, I would guess. Like a Real Madrid fan is probably more excited about Real Madrid than Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Even in Sao Paulo, since there's 4 clubs, people are constantly teasing each other, even their best friends, if they're rival clubs, just insulting each other all the time. It gets kind of annoying, to be honest. But then going to the stadium, so I went to a lot of games and it was fine. Families can go to games, but there are certain sections of the stadium that are the torcida organizada, which is like the organized fan supporters, which you might call ultras in some countries. And those are like primarily young men, and it can be dangerous, honestly, like to be part of those groups. So, if you're a visiting team, it would be very dangerous to go to certain stadiums if you're not, as the visiting team. So at the stadium we would go to the Sao Paulo team, there was a small section that visiting fan supporters were allowed to be in, and it was like completely separate, surrounded by the police.
Oh my goodness.
They even have to be separated outside of the stadium. As they're arriving, there has to be a separate entrance because they'll fight with each other and like attack each other. So it's kind of scary. And national team games are nothing like that. I mean, the only time it would get close to that is if it was Brazil against Argentina, because that's like the biggest rivalry. So I would be honestly like a little scared about going to a Brazil-Argentina game because like it could get heated. And of course at the World Cup, they don't separate the fans at all. So you're like sitting next to each other. So most of my experience, of course, was with the club team because that was all year round. But then with the national team, I mean, during the World Cup, it's so fun because the entire country just stops to watch the games. So if a Brazil game is like during business hours, the federal government will like call a holiday so that people can get off work. And so it's this country. Actually, I saw someone complaining because I think all 3 of Brazil's group games this year are like late at night. So they're like, no, we don't get a holiday off work. But even within an evening game, they might give like a half day or something.
Okay.
And then it's a whole thing, it's a very social event. So you're not necessarily at a bar. A lot of people do go to bars and restaurants, but a lot of people are like gathering at home. So like
Yeah.
with a group of friends at home, because you want to watch together. And of course, just I don't know, just the fact that everyone's into it, everyone's watching, it doesn't feel the same here. Of
Yeah.
course there are a lot of people who do, but there are tons of people who just aren't following at all
Yeah.
and don't care at all. So that's a very different feeling when you're there.
Yeah. I was
But
gonna ask you,
yeah.
like, what do those game days look like? Like, how are we celebrating? What are we eating? And how are we gathering and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're at a bar, it would be like bar snacks, little like fried food and stuff, and drinking beer mostly, or caipirinhas, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to remember specifically like, when we would go over to some friends, like watch parties, they would make a special. I think was it 2014 that Brazil played Mexico? Now I'm not sure if it was 2014 or 2018, but
Hmm.
we made Mexican food
Oh,
for that,
nice.
like when Brazil was playing Mexico. And so here, like we're hosting a watch party for the first game, and we're having it like catered by a Brazilian restaurant so we can have like proper Brazilian food at it. And what we're gonna get is feijoada, which is like a bean and meat stew. That I don't think that would be a traditional food to have at a game in Brazil, but it's just something, since we're living here, it's something that people miss. So we're excited to have like a Brazilian food. Because I would say that's a little heavy to be a game day food. In Brazil, you would be eating more like snackish food, like light food
Yeah.
during the game. And then after the game, if they won, then you're staying and you're celebrating, keep drinking, keep hanging out. If they lost, then everyone's like depressed and probably goes home. But I will say Brazilians have like a great sense of humor. I mean, in the 2014 World Cup, I remember seeing in like the international press, oh, be careful because if Brazil loses, there's going to be riots in the street. Like the Brazilians won't accept that their country loses, at the World Cup in Brazil. And that's not what happened at all.
Okay.
I mean, because when, Brazil lost that semifinal 7-1 against Germany, which was the biggest humiliation and embarrassment like ever. But during the game, when it became clear what was happening, Brazilians immediately turned to like humor about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we started getting memes like during the game and of about how ridiculous it was. And I was at a big party, people watching, people just stopped watching and were like chatting and drinking and stuff. They're like, okay, we're done with this. And there was no like rioting or people upset
Yeah.
at all. Like people obviously were sad, but it became more of a joke.
Hmm.
And even now, the expression 7-1, like 7-1, is used for anything that's like an embarrassment.
Oh.
You're like something happens, you're like, oh, that was such like a 7-1 situation.
Oh, that's so apropos. Gosh, I'm glad to hear that because I remember that game and I just remember staring at the TV in disbelief. And I didn't have any Brazilian friends in my life at that time. So there was no one I could like, what's going on? These are big moments. But now that you're supporting Brazil from afar, what are some of the emotional things that you experience, or some things that you miss from being in Brazil when the national team is playing? And what are some things that you look forward to replicating here?
Yeah, I do miss. I mean, it's kind of what I've already mentioned about everyone being into it, everyone knowing what's coming, everyone planning their whole schedules around the World Cup and the games, which is just not happening here. There's so many other things going on. I have a son like finishing school, there's all this school stuff. Like people don't understand. They don't understand that I'm going to be watching games every day. So I definitely miss that, is people just like not understanding how big this is.
Hmm.
And then in Brazil, another thing they do is they like literally paint the streets with Brazilian flags and Brazilian colors. So like
Yeah.
tons. And it's not like an advertising corporate thing. No, people like buy paint and like paint the street so their street looks cool, and they put up Brazilian flags along their like the side of the street. So just everything looks so cool.
Hmm.
And so yeah, here there's advertising and there's stuff up, but it's not the same at all. So
Yeah.
it's too bad not to. And I guess it's also weird to be in a country where the home team definitely like does not expect to win. Like
Mm.
there's not, I mean, people want to see the US do well, but no one like truly thinks that the
Right.
US is going to actually win. And that's a different feeling, where in Brazil, the expectation is always that you win
Mm-hmm.
and anything else is a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely a different mindset to have like going into the World Cup.
Yeah.
And yeah, I miss like the social, how every game is a big social event.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely going to be able to replicate that with the Brazil games, I think. We're
Yeah.
having a bunch of Brazilian people over for the first game. I mean, we'll be at the second game. I'm thinking of going to one of the New York City official fan fests for the third game. And then after that, we just have to see. We have to see when the games happen and figure it
Yeah.
out. But hopefully we'll be able to make luckily we're part of several like Brazilian groups here. We have a lot of Brazilian friends, so I'm sure everyone will be figuring out. I mean, people already are figuring out how to see those games, and then we'll figure out at the last minute how to see the playoff games, and
Yeah.
I think it'll be really fun. Yeah.
That'll be really fun. Any predictions?
I mean, I know the expectations are high for Brazil, but I can't see them going all the way.
Oh, I'm not gonna leave you hanging by yourself. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be. I'm excited to see what they have this year. I don't. I think they'll make it into past the first round.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's the thing about predictions, is the different structure of the World Cup
yeah,
is it's so hard to predict what it looks like having more groups, more teams getting out of the group, the round of 32. So
yeah,
it's so hard to predict. Like, is that going to mean there might be some more upsets like early on, or not? So it's
mhm,
really hard to picture how it's going to go. But
yeah.
I would say like Spain and France are
Oh,
like, they're the ones who are the hardest to beat, I think. So
yeah.
I'll be surprised if it's not at least one of them in the final.
Okay, we'll see. I am certain that however far Brazil gets in the tournament, we'll have fun along the
Yeah.
way. We'll have fun watching them and criticizing them and celebrating them.
Oh yeah,
And
there's going to be a lot of analysis whether Neymar plays. That's going to be the big talking point in Brazil. Is Neymar playing? How much is he playing? Should he be playing? There's plenty to analyze.
we'll see. We'll see. But Liz, thank you so much for sharing all of this Brazil football and language joy with all of us. Looking forward to the World Cup, and I hope that you have a great time at all of the games that you'll be attending.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.